Hey, this is OXDF. Today we're doing Advent of Code 2024, day one. Let's take a look at the challenge. There's a normal text setting up a story where you have to collect stars. All of that stuff takes up here at the top. We get down to the challenge here, which is we're going to get two lists, and they're going to be in vertical. They're vertical. So the first list is 3, 4, 2, 1, 3, 3. The second list is on the other side. We have to find the smallest number in each list to get the difference, get the second smallest to get the difference, get the third smallest, get the difference until we have all the differences. The sum of those differences, which appear to always be positive, is the total distance that we're trying to get, and that is the result. So let's jump into VS Code. I will run genday day one, and this is going to create me a day one folder along with get my input here. I can take a quick look at the input.txt. There are, let's see, 1,000 rows, or 1,000 columns, I should, well, yeah, 1,000 rows, 2 columns, so 2 lists, each 1,000 long, much bigger numbers than the example. We will come here and new file ex.txt, and we can paste in our much simpler example. And cool, let's go ahead and jump into the Python. So I'm going to read in all of these lines. I'm going to read them in as lines. I want to take each line and convert it to a pair of integers. So I'm going to, we're going to say, we'll come here and we'll do line for a line in read lines. Now each line we want to split, and then we want to map int. So that's going to take each result on that line and apply the int function to it, turning it into an integer. And then I want to turn it back to a list because if map returns a generator, I don't really want that. And that should give me what I'm looking for. Let's just do this. We'll say part1 equals lines. And so if we do Python day one example.txt, we get lists. We're going to read each line in as a list. Now, I want to go ahead and convert this to, right now I've got like all the lists are set up on each row, and I really want each column. I'll show you a couple ways to do that. First thing we could do is say like list 1, list 2. Let's say list 1 equals that, list 2 equals that. We can say for line in lines. We can say we've already split and mapped them into integers. So now we just need to say list 1 dot append line 0, list 2 dot append line 1, like that. And let's see, now we can say like list 1 here, we can say list 2 here. And if we run this now, you can see we have our 2 lists, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, etc. That's the longer way to do it. One thing, there's a neat kind of trick we can do in here where we say list 1, list 2 equals, and what I'm going to do, so I'm going to say lines, and now what I'm going to say zip on star lines. And what that says is when I have lines, star line says this is what lines looks like here. Take each of these items and make them arguments to zip. And so you're going to have 3, 4 an argument to zip, 4, 3 an argument to zip, etc. Now the zip is going to take the first item out of each list and make it a result. Then the second item, make a result. The third item, make a result. Well, I'm going to have, since I only have 2 items, I'm just going to get 2 lists back with the first item in one list and the next item in the next list. And so that's going to solve it for me. That also generates a generator, so I just need to convert that back to a list. And now I get the same result. Interestingly, they're actually tuples. I don't care here. That's fine. I could turn each of these tuples into lists as well, but tuples work just fine for what I'm trying to do. If I did need to get them into lists, I could do map list like that, and now I get lists because that would take a list, apply the list object to each of these tuples. So either way, that works fine. Okay, so what do we need to do in part 1 is we need to say, we're going to say zip list 1, list 2, because we're going to take each item. But first we need to sort. What we can do is zip sorted list 1, sorted list 2. So we've taken each list and we've sorted it. So now once we sort it, we're pairing up the lowest and lowest, second lowest, second lowest. So now we can zip them together, and zip says take each item, the first item off each list, put them together. And so we can say, let's see, we'll do, Let's go here. We'll say x1, x2 in. So we can say x1 minus x2 for x1. So that's going to go over each items in the list, get x1 and x2, subtract them, give me a list of the numbers. I can say sum of that to get the sum of all those things. And we can put that right here. I think I need an absolute value around that, like that. And I believe that should give us part 1. Let's try it here. 11, I believe that was what was here. Yep, 11. So let's try that on .text. And oops, let's go ahead and get rid of view because I don't need to be printing that out. We got a number. And we solved part 1. I'm going to read part 2. I'll get back to you in a second. Okay. So this one, we're going to just change our calculation. It's going to be a little bit more complicated. We need to go through the first list completely. And for each one, we need to look at how many times that number shows up in the second list. So the example is 3 shows up 3 times in this list. And so for 3, we're going to multiply 3 times 3 to get 9. 4 shows up once in this list. So we're going to do 4 times 1 and 4. And then we're going to sum up all of those scores and get a new score. Seems pretty simple, actually. We can do, we're going to do another list here. We'll do a sum over another list here. So the list is going to be, this time we're just going to go over list 1. And in list 1, we need to say, so we'll say x for x in list 1. So now we're going to loop over list 1. Now, here we want to say x times, so we need the x value times the number. How are we going to get the number? We're going to say len of something here. We'll say y for y in list 2 if y equals x. So we're going to create a little list here. We're going to get all of the values in list 2 if they're that. And this really, we could put anything here, right? We put 1, the value doesn't matter. We're just going to get a list of length, the length, how many times it shows up, and then we'll multiply that here and get part 2. So I run it. So we get 31 here. I believe that was correct. Yeah, we get 31. And so let's try it with the input and see what we get. Much bigger number. Boom, we got it. So basically, just to sum this up, basically this list right here is going to say, give me only the values from list 2 if they are the value x. And so I'm going to loop over each x value, multiply that by the length to get the score, and then I just sum all of those up into part 2, and I get my answer. So that's it for today. I will be back tomorrow, and thanks for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you next time.